Alright, so next thing we're going to look at is examples of reading graphs. We're going to look at an example of reading a graph and understanding it. And then creating some simple graphs based on applications. So the first example is a smooth graph. So we have the smooth graph that we were given. And so the line graph above shows the expenses in thousands of dollars for a small business. So this would be the expenses. And then over the years. Alright, so the line graph for the years 2005 to 2015. Explain what the graph says about the yearly expenses. Pay particular attention to the growth rate of the expenses. So kind of look at where the growth rate's different. And so where they're different, it would be sort of where it looks like I get a new line segment. So here would be a good year. And in between there. And then the last one. Alright, so we're going to look 2005 to 2018. Describe it. 2011. And so those are the years we're going to kind of describe. So first of all, between 2005 and 2008, it looks like it is in steady decline. All right, so from 2005 to 2008, the rate of expenses is decreasing. All right, it's negative, right? That would be a negative rate of change. All right, decreasing, move down. So the expenses would have decreased over those years. Their negative rates of change, they would decrease. All right, from 2008 to 2011 was the next place we were going to look, and I did 2011. All right, so looking between there again, it looks like it's increasing. All right, so between 2008, the rate of expenses is increasing. It would be positive. It does look like it's a steady increase, right? It's steadily increasing. It'd be a smooth, constant increase. All right, both of those look like they would be a constant. That would have a constant decrease. That would have a constant increase, meaning it's moving up the same rate over those years. The other one was moving down at the same rate. All right, the next one is between 2011 to 2013, looks like. All right, so this one, if you look here, this is one that I was talking about at the end of the last video. It looks like that line where I start and where I stop is at exactly the same place, right? It's right in the middle of 12,000 and 14,000. So it looks like it's at 13,000, the expenses. Again, I'm guessing there. But this looks pretty flat, which means it's neither increasing nor decreasing. And so in that case, it would have a zero rate of change, right? So the rate of expenses is constant, meaning the same, or a zero rate of growth, right? It is neither increase, so zero change. That's what it means. Zero change in expenses, right? Zero changes, neither growing or declining, is zero changes. So again, it looks like it's a horizontal line there. So the expenses are not changing. Well, I guess that's probably a better way. The expenses do not change over those years. They stay constant. They're at zero. They stay the exact same from 2011 to the way it looks. And then the last one, 2013 to 2014, looks like it's growing again. All right, so from 2013 to 2015, looks like the rate of expenses is increasing again. Increases, meaning it's positive rate of growth. Moving up, right? It looks like it's increasing over those years. And so that would be how we describe those. All right, the next example is we're going to create simple graphs, all right, based on some information provided in an application. So suppose we have a savings account. All right, a savings account increases in values at ever increasing rates over a period from 2005 to 2050. So that's a graph. All right, so we have a savings account increases in values at increasing rates from 2015 at ever increasing rates over the period 2005 to 2015. So sketch a simple graph. And again, simple graph would just mean, all right, so that would represent the savings account in dollars, and this would represent the time in years. All right, so again, we should have some money in there. And it looks like it's increasing at an increasing rate. So it should be getting faster and faster. And so increasing at an increasing rate should have a slight upwards curve to it. So it should be moving upwards like that. If it was increasing at a steady rate, it would be a line. But this one's increasing at an increasing rate. And so it should have a slight curve to it. All right, so we should be curving up. So I did just a slight curve because things don't tend to change that fast. But that's how it would look from 2005 to 2015. All right, so it's in a simple graph. We just mean a simple, so it's increasing at increasing rates. All right, a certain population has a negative growth rate for a time, but then the growth rate is eventually positive. So this is going to be one that changes. All right, so we start negative, meaning we start moving down, decreasing, but then eventually at some point it switches to increasing. And this is where it's, again, I just have to kind of guess if it's moving down, moving up. So I'm not going to do an extreme. All right, so again, it's a simple sketch. So this would be the population. This would be the time. And so just going to kind of pick apart the stop. So first, it's negative, meaning it's going to be moved down. At some point, it's going to switch to positive. So at some point, it kind of curves down and curves back around and switches to positive. And so it should have sort of a U-like shape. And how much of a U-like shape is up to you. I would say it's a sort of a steady increase over the time period. So again, sort of it's decreasing and then increases. All right, so this would be negative, switches to positive. All right, the next one. A child is 37 inches tall at the age 3. Then he grows to 71 inches by age 17, at which time he has achieved his adult height, which means you stop growing. Now, there's eventually a point, if you don't take good care of yourself, you will start to, because of gravity, you will start to shrink. But shrinking is usually very small, and it's usually like when you hit your 80s and 90s. All right, so we're just going to assume that we stay the same height all the way through. All right, so we have a child, so we're going to start fairly young and then go out to 17. So we'll start my graph here. This is my years. All right, these are the inches. So somewhere around here we'll say is our 3 years. Somewhere out here is our 17, and then so on. This would be, maybe 28 or something along those lines. All right, so we start off at 37 inches, so I'm just going to mark off 37 inches. Then we'll grow to 71, and again, I'm just going to ballpark it there, 71. All right, so we start off here. So they start off there, and then at 17, they grow fairly steadily and fast, and then that's where they sort of stay. And so this should actually be a flat curve going on after that. So it was over the first 20 years, so 20 would be about here. So over the first 20 years, not 28. Didn't finish reading the line. All right, slowly growing. And so he's slowly growing. So again, it's depending on how steep. I'm going to put a slight curve to it because, again, you tend to grow faster when you're young, right? You tend to have growth spurts when you're, 5 to 16, and then it slows down. It definitely slows down when you're 14, 15, and 16. So I'm going to start off fairly fast, and then I'm going to slow down. And then after that point, it's straight. It should be, you don't grow anymore, so that should be a flat line after that point. And so this would roughly be the shape of the graph. It should, again, you grow faster when you're young, and then as you get closer to your adult height, you slow down. Now, there may be spikes in there, but I'm going to assume it's a smooth curve. And so that's the graph that I'm going to use. All right, so again, this is sort of ballparking. These type of questions would show up as multiple choice. So you'd have to pick the best choice given to you in the multiple choice. So again, that would be, you go through and sort of figure out, well, what's the best choice for this piece of information? All right, we'll stop there. The next thing we're going to talk about is a little more with scatter plots and how they do with positive, negative, and no correlation. And so that's the next video.